The third package, the target electricity model, has one very desirable intention, and that is to integrate finally the electricity markets of different countries and to use the interconnector capacity more efficiently by dispatching it in the day-ahead market and eventually in all the markets. So I think that is a reform that we have been waiting some 14 years to deliver. It's finally happening, so I'm very impressed. I think there are some problems in that the model adopted, the Nord Pool model, the energy-only market model, has some limitations. I think those can probably be accommodated, but it's quite challenging for countries which already have reasonably well-designed pool markets to accommodate. Well, I think renewables and policy uncertainty and a number of other directives like the large combustion plant directive make it very difficult to justify investing in fossil generation, and you need fossil generation or flexible generation for the periods when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine. So you certainly need that kind of peaking capacity, and the market has indicated that it's very nervous about making those investments. A capacity auction gives the security, the guaranteed revenue that would justify the investments. So I think, and the evidence from the United States supports that it is probably the best solution to that problem. I think we're going in the right direction in that the intention of making the best use of the whole electricity system is desirable. I mean, it's obviously sensible that countries can trade so that if Germany closes its nuclear plants and has a massive amount of investment in solar PV, the fact that it can import from neighbouring countries greatly reduces the cost of including those policy decisions in its policy plan. Well, the renewables directive stimulates renewables to 2020 and seems to be quite effective, although, of course, poorly designed renewables policies can be very expensive, and in a financial crisis, that does put great pressure on governments to finance these. So the policy may have delivered it, the financial crisis may prejudice it, but the most serious weakness is the pricing of carbon. That was one of the core elements of Europe's climate change policy, was to create a price for carbon. The emissions trading system has failed to give an adequate price. It certainly failed to give a credible and durable price. We still don't know what the 2030 mechanism for carbon pricing will be, and we certainly don't know what will be the situation between now and 2050. All we have are guidelines of what the European Union or individual member states would like to achieve, but there's no policy coherence that will actually reassure investors that it will be delivered, at least unless they get contractual assurance that they will be paid for the decisions they make. The electricity market in particular is the simplest way in which you can reduce carbon intensity in an economy. It's very difficult to do it in domestic heating unless you use electricity. It's even more difficult to do it in transport. It can be done, but it's very expensive. But decarbonising the production of electricity is relatively simple. The consumers don't notice any difference in the kind of electricity they get, whether it comes from zero carbon or very carbon intensive fuel. So critical element in decarbonisation is getting the energy policy and the electricity policy in particular to accommodate low carbon. And that, as I've said, is the missing element in the European climate change agenda. We don't have an adequate carbon price.